I'm Matt Rucins. I am the senior talent buyer at the Auditorium in Chicago. The Auditorium is a roughly 3,900 capacity theater that's been here for 135 years. Has hosted many of the most important artists in the history of all sorts of music, and I'm honored to be here and continuing its legacy. I've been using Prism off and on for about 7 years. I was one of the first I don't want to say guinea pigs, but volunteers to learn how to use Prism, and I've embraced it from the get-go, and happy to be back at it here at the Auditorium. I've been a
Wonderful.
booker for 26 years, so needless to say, I was ready for something like Prism.
Yeah, what was life like before Prism to now? Yeah, because most of your,
Well,
even though
life
it's been, yeah, go ahead.
life
Yeah.
began with a desk calendar and a pencil and pen and an eraser. So I've come a long way since then. But for a while, it was some Excel, it was some native calendar apps, and some Word, and I was just happy that we could find everything in one spot now. People in the live music industry, it's nonstop, right? You can't you just try to keep your head above water. So you learn behaviors that help you do that, right? So
Yes,
even
yes.
though in the back of your mind, there's probably a more efficient way to do it, you still like you've taught yourself this, you've honed your skills, you've perfected it. So when that something better comes along, a lot of times you're just like, no way. Way too much time and energy in getting myself to this point. There's no way I'm starting over. And obviously,
Yo,
if you
you
yes,
absolutely nailed it. I've
yeah,
never heard
so
it so nailed. Yeah.
yeah, so if you actually take the chance to do it, you realize, oh wait, I can save some time and maybe see my family um, and have a good time, right? So I
Yeah.
love Prism, and I'll give you another example. So a good friend of mine, Chris Baroner, he just started. He used to book for Joe Shanahan for like a decade plus in the early 2000s into the early teens at Metro, and then he left and went on to work with Windish and Paradigm, and then eventually left there. He's not been working in the music industry for I'm going to say 10 years, right? And he just recently came back on at Ramova. He's helping the Ramova Theater in Chicago, who uses Prism. And he texted me, I think maybe a week into his new gig, and said, "Oh man, if we had had Prism back in the early 2000s, it would be such a game changer." Instead of using, and then he listed like five things that he used to like manage guest lists and manage offers and to settle and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. So there you go. Somebody who's been out of it for a decade quickly recognized just how handy Prism is. When I got to the Auditorium, I was doing a lot more co-pro deals than I had previously in my career. So I was happy to see the co-pro tab there, but I was always frustrated with the fact that eventually, despite everything being there, I would have to start working into Excel. And I built a template in Excel for my co-pro settlements, but it was always just kind of a pain in the butt. I do remember that I'm pretty sure I audibly screamed finally or yes or something like that when I clicked on that GoPro tab and saw that you could download a PDF of it. It was a game changer. It saved me a ton of time. And it's my colleagues and my co-pro partners appreciate the speed at which I can now send them a final co-pro settlement and how organized and easy to follow it is. So far, the people I've used it with, like Live Nation obviously doesn't use Prism. They've liked it, right?
Cool.
It's a lot easier than my CoPro Excel template that I built was I'm a super organized person, detail oriented. It was very easy to absorb. Obviously, there were times where something wasn't pointing to the right thing, right? And then our numbers would be off, and I would have to fucking go through every single thing. I'm like, oh, there it is, right? That's such a pain in the ass because I'm not a finance person, so I'm not a
Yeah.
pro Excel. I've taught myself and I've learned over the years. So it's knowing that Prism does the calculations right, I'm confident that if I get everything in the cost section and the revenue section lined up, that when I go to that CoPro, it's going to be spot on. And then it's a quick turnaround. It's like, yes, we match. Done. Right. Off
Love
to the
that.
finance department. And it's just sped things up immensely. So we're here on the deals page. Bob Marley and the Wailers returning to the Auditorium. I'm lucky enough to partner with Bill Graham on this show. 90% of my deals for CoPro deals are 50-50. So I would have already had a template built with that in it and would have just added Bill and gone on from there. I'll move into the revenue tab. We've got our scaling and pricing here, which I would have gotten from Bill's deal memo that he shared with me. Um, and the important part for the co-pro exercise here is obviously the additional revenue. We've got facility fee, handling fee, rent, premium, platinum stats, some of which are in the co-pro split, some of which are not. But all at the bottom, we have the majority of the stuff we're splitting on the co-pro. We've got net F&B, we've got a premium rebate, and we have all the ticketing rebates. all adjusted to actuals now and ready to move over to the CoPro tab. Moving to the CoPro tab, you can see a very easy to absorb summary of the night's show, starting with what the auditorium owes Bill Graham, followed by a very easy to understand summary showing the revenue and expenses for the night's show, and ultimately this 50-50 split between Bill Graham Presents and the auditorium. Moving down to the revenue section, we see the sales per price level, and then moving into specifics about what revenue is being shared. Obviously, this show was at the auditorium, so we're holding all of the revenue. But in an instance where Bill Graham was allotted some tickets, you could easily just type in to their column that they sold all PL4s for 32, 31, 27, and then you zero out the auditoriums, and all the numbers are adjusted in the revenue section and up top as well for the money owed to Bill Graham Presents. Moving to expenses, again, having the show at the auditorium will hold most of the expenses. However, for this exercise, Bill Graham actually sourced the catering, so that $5,000 expense goes into their column along with the entire marketing advertising budget, which again adjusts the numbers at the bottom totals, and then back up top, the auditorium owes Bill Graham Presents number is adjusted accordingly. At the bottom, again, another nice summary mirroring what's up top. You can see the auditorium's show profit split, what the auditorium is currently holding with net revenue, and then what Bill Graham gets in the show profit split and what they've already spent, leading to the total owed Bill Graham $67,057.48. And now the moment that caused me such joy a few weeks ago, a preview of the available PDF. Can you see that?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Of the new CoPro PDF. No longer do I need to go into Excel, and this is very, very easy to read. Proof by the fact that my finance department has not pushed back on it whatsoever.
Love
And
that.
yeah, and it's got the signature pages or the signature lines. This is super easy just to download to your desktop and send it to your promo partner for signature, and then you're all wrapped up.